The first one we ever went to, we just decided to go at the spur of the moment, and it was like towards the end, and it was this huge old, like 100-year-old house. And we get there, and it's this like retired lesbian couple who are downsizing, and they
Oh,
were telling us about the history of the house and how the house like had an underground like queer zine in the basement in like the 80s.
Hi, and welcome to the Queer Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Becca, and this is my co-host.
Co.
And today we sat down with C.H. Carter. C.H. Carter is an author. She is indie published. We got to learn about her creative process, about her motivations. We got to learn about her new projects. We got to learn about her trilogy that she just finished. It's a Little Mermaid retelling, and it's in a world where queer is just normal. It's just normal. So, if you would like to learn more, which you should, then listen on to the Queer Vision Pod with C.H. Carter.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us today. I'm so excited to get to know more about you. I know Rebecca knows a little bit more than I do because I think maybe y'all have met.
Yeah,
Right? Okay.
at Eli's book night.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we usually just start out by just having you say your name, your pronouns, and anything you want to share with the viewers off the bat about you.
Okay, great. Sure. Yeah. So my name is C.H. Carter and my pronouns are she, her. And I am a fantasy author here in North Carolina. And I just finished my debut trilogy last spring. It's called the Kingsport Chronicles. So that was very exciting. And it's basically a Little Mermaid retelling, but set in a queer normative world and in an epic
Mm.
fantasy type of world. So yeah, that's been a really great experience getting that completed.
It was really good. Well, I didn't read the whole series. I've only read the first one so far, but I will be reading the whole series, and so far it is very good. So for anyone who's listening that's into fantasy, you should
Thank
read it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I
Of course.
yeah, I really need to because Little Mermaid's like my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was I love like folklore in general and like fairy tale
Hmm.
retellings and things like that. And so I was thinking to myself, what, if I was going to write a retelling, what would it be? And then immediately I was like, oh, mermaids. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. So, like, when did you start this? Like, how long did it take you to write a trilogy? Because that's like thick books too. They're not
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, they are. They're a little chunky.
Wow.
yeah.
This is the first one. The first one definitely took the longest just because of world building and, going through multiple drafts and character changes
Mhm.
and things like that. But total, I would say for the entire series, 5, almost 6 years.
Okay,
Wow.
that's not a very long time for that much writing. Holy crap. Good job.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't do much else.
So is writing is that your full time or do you have a day job as well that you do if you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I do have a full-time job. I'm lucky enough to work from home, which helps a great deal with
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
carving out the writing time and everything else.
Hmm.
So I just have to create a schedule for myself, outside of my 40 hours a week at my day
Hmm.
job.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made a huge difference working from home. Enabled me to
Mhm.
get a lot more done faster.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you one of do you feel like you're pretty good with like self-planning and stuff? You're giving me the energy that you're one of those people like
Yeah.
that's like very planned out and like thought out.
But yeah, for
Couldn't be
sure.
me.
You can't see it, but I'm working on a new book right now, and you can't see my like big calendar on the wall back here and
Hmm.
my
Oh, yeah.
giant cork board with all my scene cards on it and
Hmm.
everything. Like I have to do that though. I have to plan it out
Hmm.
and I have to plan my writing days and carve out that time because if I don't, then nothing will happen. So
Hmm.
it's like I
That's
have to
totally
have
fair.
that regimented setup in order to stick with it.
I feel like I'm starting to learn that as a creative in general
Mhm.
anyway, just how important that can be because I mean, it's one thing to like go with inspiration and I think it's good to honor your inspiration sometimes, but
Mhm.
also like inspiration comes and goes and motivation comes and goes, so it is good to like yeah, have
Yeah.
structure and be
Yeah.
able to just be like, okay, I'm just going to try my best even if I write something that makes no sense, at
Yeah.
least I'm writing something on the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Consistency.
Even if I end up throwing this all out, at least I took the time and got something down.
Yeah, that's true. And then it also kind of tricks your mind into coming up with that creative stuff like between times, I feel like every
Mhm.
time I set, okay, this is going to be my creative block or this is going to be my like writing time or whatever, then like I almost find myself being like, well, why can't I just like right now? I'll just like right now. And I'm like, well, I can't because I set it later because I have to do other things first. And so my brain's like coming up with the ideas while I'm
Mhm.
doing the other things because I'm not letting myself do it yet because I can't.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That doesn't work for everyone, but I found that
No.
also just like having that routine puts me in the headspace, right? Like I've got
Mhm.
all my stuff I need and I've got my playlist, for that particular whatever project I'm working on. And
Mm,
once I like have all of that set up, I'm able to just get into that headspace faster than I used to. So
mhm.
Yeah. So how long have you been writing then? Did you start with this book or like have you been writing for a while?
I guess technically I've been writing always. Somewhere in my mom's house there is a cassette tape of me just making up stories into one of those. Remember those
Mm,
little like cassette recorders? I don't know how old you are.
Yeah.
The little cassette recorders with the microphone. Somewhere there is a tape of me making up stories for my mom, just babbling. Yeah, I've written short stories and things like that. The first thing I ever had published was a short story, a mystery story, honestly, which was kind of a fluke. I've never done that again. Um, but yeah, just always. And then I did write a complete one book before this year. I started the series, but it's, probably not going to see the light of day.
Why not?
It's like with anything with like practice, you get better, right? Now I've gone
Mm,
mhm,
back and reread it. It's like, oh wow, yeah, this needs to be completely rewritten if I were to
mhm.
mm,
try to publish it now because I know so much more and I've developed my personal voice and things like that more. So
makes sense, actually.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like, the best way I can relate it in my head is like, because 'cause I'm a drag entertainer and, like, a
Mhm.
makeup artist, so, like, for me, it's very much like, oh, I go back to, like, a month ago, a performance I saw, and I'm like, oh, like, I maybe more than a month, like, 3, 4 months, and I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
I don't wanna post that, like, now because
Yeah,
I look at it and I'm like, I've just grown so much already,
Yeah.
and yeah, I get
that's
that.
fair. And you kinda get tired of it too. I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah. That's how I am with the magazines too. I'm like, I'll do it for like the month. I'll be like, this is my favorite one. And then by the time I'm done with it, it's not my favorite one anymore. And
Mhm.
then and then I'm like, let's on to the next one.
Yeah,
Next one make me
exactly.
happy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing though.
Truly.
Man, now I wanna write. Now I have you
Yes.
got me the motivation. Now I wanna write.
There you go.
That's amazing. So you said that you have a day job.
Yes.
Obviously, I don't want to ask you any specifics about your day job, but like, is it like, do you get to do creative outlet stuff with it? Is it kind of in line with writing, or is it like you get a complete refresh and like they're completely different?
It's completely different. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
good,
in a
good.
completely unrelated field, and
Mhm,
I'm a trainer. I can say that. I'm a trainer for the company I
mhm,
work for, so I just
Mhm.
spend
mm,
all my time coming up with, training programs and then teaching them, so it's a completely
mm,
different thing.
Okay, but like honestly, that sounds pretty structured similarly to how you would have to structure a book, right? Like you have to kind of plan it out a little bit. So that makes
Yeah.
sense that you have that background.
Mhm. Yeah, it does come in handy actually, but and then it just kind of ebbs and flows depending on how many new trainees we have at one time.
Right.
So,
mhm,
but yeah, no, it is nice though. I would love to write full time or at least part
mhm,
time, like at least be able to drop down to part time work and write the other time, rest of the time. But as of right now, that's not, unfortunately not an option. But I
Right.
really do enjoy it actually. The
mhm,
job that I do have. So that's also been helpful, honestly, in writing because I
mhm,
know like I enjoy that job too, and, like, it's a good job, and I like my coworkers and everything, so that helps me not be so stressed out when it's time to write.
mhm,
Right, yeah, because you get when you're stressed out, you don't write well at all, like, well, I mean, I don't know about you, I don't write well
I
at all
know.
whenever I'm stressed out. It
Yeah, it's
doesn't
just
make any sense.
word salad, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So how did, like, being queer affect your writing journey, or, like, has it really affected it at all?
That's a good question. It's not been something I've actually thought about. I just knew when I was coming up with the idea for this book and then okay, this could be a series. Okay, how big of a world are we talking here? And going through that, it just naturally developed as a queer normative world.
Mhm.
So it wasn't, like I sat down and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It's going to be like
mhm,
this. No, it was just that's just how it developed. But then I also had to think about things, right? Like I do a ton of research, even if though it's a fantasy world and I've made it up, I still want like certain things to be accurate, so I'm looking at huge
Right.
diagrams of ships and looking up like structures of different like my background and my education, I have a history degree and I studied like world religions. So I
Mm,
have that background, but then I was having to dig deeper and like, okay, well, this is how this type of religion is set up. So if I want this country to have this type of religion, how is that going to
Hmm.
work? Is it going to affect anything being a queer normative world, or do I have to change anything? So with stuff like that, I had to think
yeah.
about it more. But as far as the idea itself, it just developed on its own, which was kind
That's
of nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, whenever I was reading it, it was nice to just like be in a world where nothing had to be explained. Like,
Hmm.
I think that that's such, I mean, it's a trope, right? Obviously, of like the coming out and stuff like that, and I get it. But like, it's nice to experience a world where you don't have to do that. And so
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, yes, they're just in a relationship. No biggie. Okay, cool. Moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
it was refreshing.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I did have a, sensitivity reader, right, do a full read of the
Mm,
first book, just to
Hmm.
really, like, help me, like, because after you stare at something long enough, you don't see
mhm,
stuff anymore,
Right.
and so having a sensitivity reader was also just really helpful to go in and look at just multiple different levels, but including the queer normative, like, is there anything that stood out as not natural or, like, felt
mhm.
forced, as far as that goes, and luckily she gave me, like, great comments on that one, so
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. I do agree. So do you have like ARC readers and stuff like that too then? Like, 'cause like I know like publishing is so different whenever you're
Mhm,
like with like a big company versus like on your own or
mhm.
whatnot. I don't actually, are you self-published or do you work
Yeah,
with a
I'm indie
company?
published.
Okay, okay. I thought so, but I wasn't 100% sure. So like how does that like process go then? Like you have the ARC readers, do you have like what do you do?
Yeah, so I started out with I have beta readers, which are kind of the
Okay.
people who
Mm,
read more of a rough version. It may not be, I mean, it's pretty polished, but it's not gonna like the final version of the book. And there may even be some parts that are not 100% resolved yet, but you need like that outside reader perspective and to help you out
Hmm.
with that. So I have like a core group of beta readers. And then if some of them are busy and I need new ones, then I'll just put a call out, on Instagram or
mhm,
something and say, hey, does
Right.
anybody want to beta read? And then I also, same thing, the ARC is like the final copy of the book, but it's not the full, like, it's not going to include all like the front and back matter, right? That's included in the final
mhm,
Right.
copy and things like that. But it is pretty much the polished version. So with that, same thing. I have a core group of ARC readers who said they always want to be ARC readers. And then if I need additional ones, then I again just put out a call and like say, is anybody interested? And kind of go from there. So yeah, it really just depends. It depends on the author, it depends on their writing process. But I go through
Right.
usually minimum three versions of a
mm,
manuscript. So like
Okay.
my editor sees the first version, my beta readers see the second version, and then the ARC readers get the third version.
That's a really good way of going through it because I feel like, do you do like, okay, wait, my brain. So you said you have the scenes, right? You had like the cork board. So
Mhm.
do you do like a full outline or do you just say, I want this scene to be in here and you put it up there and like you just kind of come up with ideas and then put them in order? Like what? Fascinating. Please tell me.
So I've tried several different methods, and again, everybody is different. Everybody should
Right.
find the thing that works best for them. So I'm not saying this is the best way to go at all. It's just best for me. But I love the save the cat method, which is an outlining method that started out for screenwriting, like film script writing, screenplay. That's the word. And it's this breakdown where there are these like core, like 12 points in a story. No matter what the story is, no matter what the genre is, there are these 12 like core points. And you can like, once you know what to look for them, you start identifying them in everything you're watching, which does get a little annoying for some people. But I try not to like blurt it out now. But anyway, I wish I had my copy. I think I do have my copy in here. There's a writer called Jessica Brody, and she took that Save the Cat method for screenwriting and she turned it into a version for novel writing. And so she published a guide called Save the Cat Writes a Novel. And that's what I found is the best way for me to get each of those points out. And then that's like my overall outline. And then with the scene cards, what I found is I like having a physical thing that I can check off that I've finished. I've
Yes.
tried the digital ones on, my laptop and everything, and it's just not as satisfying. So I have, each of those story points on the cards. And then if I have any other just like scene ideas or things that I know need to happen, and those will be on there as well. But then I try to let the rest of it just come as I'm in the drafting process. So, a scene card might be, here's where we meet this character. She has to get from point A to point B, but I don't necessarily know how she's going to get there until I've sat down to write it.
Okay. Okay. I really like that because I feel like whenever I was in school and they're like, you have to do the outline, you have to do this. I literally could not come up with the outline until after I had sat down and written the whole thing. So I would literally write it and then take things out and give them the outline and then give them the final product that I had written first. And I was like, this is not working. So I think that would work really well. Like, because I mean, I've never written a novel, but I do like writing and like I have ideas. Come on, everyone has a novel in their brain, right? Yeah. Or like 20. And so like, I think that I do that. Like, I'll just tell like Ellen, our friend and coworker, I'll just tell her, I'll be like, I think this could be a good next step. And then like, I'll just sit down and be like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. And so I feel like that's a good idea. And then I definitely am like also, you have to scratch it off. I have to see it. I have to see it. Digital helps for like all the little extra shit that I don't care about. That I'm like, I have to care about, but like,
yeah, it helps for like the extra world building, the
Mundane.
notes or the whatever. But yeah, as long as I know the beginning, I have to know the beginning, middle, and end. So I guess that makes me like a plotter versus like a pantser writer. But I have to know the beginning, middle, and end, but I don't necessarily have to know how we get from the beginning to the middle to the end before I start writing.
Gotcha.
Just have to know the overall. Like what's gonna happen. It could change, things can change. There are a lot of things that changed from when I first, outlined this to the final product. It's
awesome.
It's a process.
Like, yeah. I think it's like that thing they say about art. I know it's more like in performance art, but like it's like make plans and then like throw them away the day of kind of thing, which obviously with writing is a bit different because you do need to keep a lot of your plans, but like still, art will take its course the way it's meant to come out,
Because it has a mind of its own.
That part. And then we could also talk about, I haven't talked about this on this podcast in a while. Have you ever heard of, do you know who Elizabeth Gilbert is? Author of like Pride and Prejudice.
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Is she doing Pride and Prejudice? No. I swear she did. Someone told me that.
Girl.
Or I did.
Okay. Or I did. Yeah.
I made it up. I don't know. Anyway, there's a book called Big Magic, and it just talks about the creative process, and it's kind of like my creative Bible.
Jane Austen wrote.
Oh, I don't know where I got that.
I was like, am I going crazy?
Something.
Yeah, I also was thinking that too, but then I was like, maybe they mean like a rewrite. Because like there's Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna figure that out.
I don't know where I got Pride and Prejudice. Actually,
I'm gonna say I don't know where you got it either. I'm gonna see. Okay, I'm looking. Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, that was the
all
one.
The way to the river.
Like, Pray, Love sounds like Pride and Prejudice in my brain. It sounds the same. Like I don't know. It's the same font in my brain, right? Like different words, but the same font. And I know that they're probably nothing the same at all in the actual books, but
not even close.
No.
Anyway,
not even close. I'm so sorry.
I'm not a huge reader or a huge writer.
It's okay. We're not laughing at you. It's just hilarious.
Anyway, more of the story in this book, she just talks about creativity kind of being like outside of us, and it's almost like something that comes and like knocks at your door, and then you kind of make a pact or like an agreement. It's kind of like working with another person almost, right? And so like sometimes the idea will stay with you and sometimes it'll go and sometimes it'll shift. And I don't know. I like leaning into that idea with creativity just because I've struggled with perfectionism in the past. And so it helps me kind of combat that, I guess.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That a lot of writers struggle with that because they want the first draft to be perfect. And that's one thing you have to learn is that your first draft is going to be garbage. No matter how good of a writer you are, it's always going to be bad because you have to go through and refine it and pick out the parts that just don't work and all of that. So that's why I try not to let myself reread anything after I've written it. Because that's what used to get me in the past. I used to sit there and try to reread everything before I moved on, and then I would just never do anything. So once I've written that chapter and it's done, I don't look at it again.
Okay.
Until
I
the
like
book is
that.
done.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's like I go back and I would read through and be like, wait, what did I say about this character again? And I'd go back through, but then I'd catch myself like actually trying to like fix it. So like.
Yeah. And if I can't remember, I just make myself a little note. My editor, bless her heart, is used to my weird little notes now, like double check that, or did I say that his eyes were brown? I'll fix it. Like I just keep going.
Oh, that's smart too. Okay. I'm learning so many things right now. Next up, novel by Becca.
Yeah.
We'll see when, but it'll happen. Is there anything specific that you wanted to bring up about, like, your novels or your experience at all?
Oh gosh. I know there's a lot of well, the indie publishing world, right, has grown so much. So I know a lot of people's question is always like, what advice do you give someone who's either thinking about indie publishing or they're trying to decide if they want to pursue traditional publishing first or just in general. And so because I did try that. I did try to get the To Kiss the Sea book one. I tried to get it traditionally published and I gave myself a deadline
Mm,
because I had this again, there's no magical time or age or number, by which you have to accomplish something. But in my
Right.
mind, I wanted my first book at least to be finished by the time I was 35. And so that was like it helps me to have a deadline, right? In that way. So I gave myself a deadline and I tried for 2 years. So while book one was finished and I was working on book two, I tried for
Mhm.
2 years to get an agent because you have to get an agent. And then your agent shops your book to the publishers and negotiates the
Oh,
deal. Publishers don't take direct submissions from authors.
wow.
So
that's annoying.
I did try and I got some great feedback, but for me it was the fact that traditional publishing is so subjective and there are some fantastic agents out there. There really are. I've met several of them at events and things. And if you're lucky enough to get with an agent who fits you and everything, that's fantastic. But I would get feedback like, "Oh, we love your writing, but we're not taking any books about mermaids right now." Or, "We love the story idea, but we're not looking for series right now." It was,
Um,
always, "We like it, but." That helped me though because it was disappointing, but it helped me in the fact that, okay, well, I have something good here, right?
mhm.
Because if it
Mhm.
was garbage or, just not that great, they wouldn't give me a compliment on it. They would just give me a more generic response.
Right.
Or even say that it's not good. I mean, I don't know, maybe there are some more blunt agents out there, but so after that 2-year mark hit and I was like, "Okay, well, I've hit that point. I'm gonna switch gears, and if I get traditionally published later with a different series, great, but we're just gonna focus on this." And what I do like about indie publishing is that you have more creative control, right? I have
Yeah.
total control over my covers and, artwork and things like that, and I have control over my timeline, which is helpful since I work full time, right? So
Mhm.
Mhm.
if I need to absolutely have to push out my deadline for something because of my day job schedule, I can do that. And I'm not inconveniencing a huge line of people at the publisher
Right.
Mhm.
to do that. I'm just doing it to myself.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm glad that I did my first series as an indie author, but there is still a ton to learn, which
Mhm.
it is
Right.
helpful that I've met so many local indie authors and have, made friends in the community, always willing to, tell you how they handle and everybody has a different, process. There are some like key things that you have to have nailed down, right? Before you can click publish and get your first book out there.
Right.
So I do think both are still like valid options, but for me personally, I'm sticking with indie publishing for the time being just because I like having that control. I'm a little bit of a control
Mhm.
freak
I really
about my work. So I do
Mhm.
like knowing I can choose my cover designer and choose who does my art and choose but then that means you're in charge of everything, right? Like I am the marketing
right.
Definitely.
department. I am the
Mhm.
finance department. The finance department needs work and I am in charge of my
Same.
schedule, and everything. So it's a trade off, but I'm enjoying
Mhm.
it so far. So,
That's good, that's good. I like that. I like that you have that flexibility too, and, like, I mean, we've talked to a lot of different people, and I'm not really actually sure how traditional or non-traditional every single person we've talked to, like, with the publishing is.
mhm,
I don't know what their direction was, but I do really like the way that you said that because it's like there are pros and cons to every single way to publish or to write or to whatever you
mhm,
wanna do, and it really does depend on personality and, like, time and timing, right?
yeah.
And so, like, I like that because I feel like I also am kind of a control freak, kind of, a lot. So, like, I would definitely lean
Yeah.
more towards, like, the indie route as well, I feel like.
Well, I feel like obviously it's not exactly the same because like a novel is so different, but
Yeah.
we kind of also
Yeah, that's
did the
true.
same thing with the
That's true.
magazine where it was like,
Mhm,
okay, we're gonna find a way to like get
Get it
this
out there.
out ourselves without
yeah.
really going through anybody else.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And yeah.
And it does
yeah.
make it a little more difficult because 'cause you're like, you have to find the places that you can get it printed, and
Mhm.
it's going to cost a lot different because you're not getting it mass published and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, and people can't get it delivered to their door because we can't afford to do that, whatever. But
Right.
at the same time, we get to say what goes into it and when it gets
Mhm.
published.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Yeah.
it just depends. And some people just, their dream is that traditional publishing contract and
Yeah.
that, well, advance up front and everything. And that's great. And again, I wouldn't mind being a like hybrid publisher maybe in the future, doing both, but
Okay.
at the same time, which is a lot of writers do it. Like Emily Rath is a really good example of a author who started out with self-pub or indie publishing, and then she got picked up by a traditional publisher. But even
Okay.
though she's got her certain books coming out traditionally, she's also doing stuff still like on an indie level.
That's smart.
Hmm.
That's smart because you still get that creative freedom, but you also get the money up front, which I feel like is the biggest thing that holds people back because like we're working all the time.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of like, I don't know. It makes me think of two things. One, using like your skill set versus using your art, right?
Okay.
Not that it can't still be art, but sometimes this is something that I feel like I had to like talk myself through when I was like starting to like make money off of art and things. It's just
Mm.
like, I don't know, being able to like lean into your skill set as well. Be like, okay, maybe this isn't where I'm as much creatively inspired. Like right now, no, I don't do this thing, but I have the skill set to do said thing, right?
And it'll help me
And
with
it's
my
going to
creative
help me,
pursuits.
yeah, with my creative aspect. So
Yeah.
it's like being able to just like be like, okay, this is also a skill that I have. Let me not necessarily turn off the art, but just be like, okay, I'm gonna,
It's okay that I'm less
yeah,
inspired by this.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna look on a different lens. Like I'm still seeing the same picture, but I'm looking at it a little differently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, the other thing I was thinking was, I don't know, obviously I'm just trying to make connections because I'm not like a writer, really a huge like book person, but like it even makes me think like within drag or
Hmm.
even like acting in a way, it kind of makes me think of like the difference between like an actor and a producer or a director and the difference between
Hmm.
like someone in drag who like just their goal really is to like be big and be booked a lot
Mm,
versus like some people their goal is to like make a show and produce and do those
mm.
things. And I don't know, it reminded me of that a lot too because
Yeah.
it's like how much control do you really want and what are your goals at the end of the day?
That's fair. I also
Hmm.
feel like it kind of could just work in general with like Hollywood versus like an indie film because
Yeah.
like
Yeah, exactly.
Hollywood, you have to have
That's true.
specific people and you
Yeah.
have to do specific things and you have to
Hmm.
look this way and
Mhm.
it has to get up here, whatever. And then like indie films, you definitely get to be a little more off
Hmm.
the wall or confusing
Yeah.
or what the fuck did I just watch? But also this made me feel all the emotions all at
Yeah.
once. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just had to vocalize that. So
You're allowed to
yeah,
vocalize
here I
things.
am.
Even though you aren't a reader/writer, you are allowed to
I've
vocalize
also had
things.
like barely any caffeine today. So sorry if I feel like I'm just like so unamused. It's actually just I'm very chill right now, which is a weird thing
It is
for
Don't
weird.
me.
even worry
It is
about
weird.
it. It's Friday afternoon. It's been, for me anyway, a long work week.
Yes, I feel it.
Yes, yes. So what do you do outside of like writing to like be creative, to relax, to like what hobbies do you have outside of the writing?
Yeah, so actually it's helpful that both my partner and I are very crafty. So
Mhm.
even if we might not be doing the same craft, we can be in the same room and each doing our own craft. My
That's
partner
nice.
actually owns a business, this creative business. She owns Switchback Candles, which
Cool.
is a local Durham candle company. And
Okay.
so, we'll be in the same room and she'll be maybe working on candle scents or something like that, mixing things. And I'm over there doing crochet or
Mhm.
a puzzle
That's
or
cute.
something like that. And then we both love to get outside, we love to go hiking, travel, go to the mountains. We just took a trip to Maine last year, which was
Oh.
amazing. So we like to plan our little trips, way ahead of time. So
Mhm.
we have those to look forward to. We're actually going on a trip that's going to be a fun trip, but it's also for me a research trip for my next book, which is exciting
Oh,
because it's going to
fun.
be something very different from my first
Mm.
series. And it's
Mhm.
going to be a standalone, and it's going to be a historical fantasy. So I don't,
Ooh.
I don't get to make up the whole world, which is a little bit less work for me, right?
Mhm.
But also now I have to get that time period right, and I have to think about, okay, so this is a historical fantasy, so this is a real time period. So I can't have like the same kind of like freedom, like for example, with the
Mhm.
even though my characters are still going to be queer in some way,
Mhm.
they can't, and it's 1899, so they can't be out, right?
Right.
So I have to think about that, right? How do they navigate
Mhm.
that kind of thing? But we're going to take the train, which I'm super excited about because there's a lot of
Oh,
train
that's so fun.
travel, right, in that era.
Mm.
And then we're going to the oldest hotel in the US, which is in Chicago. It's called the Palmer House, I think is what it's called. I hope I didn't just get that wrong.
Mm.
I can't look because we're talking on my phone, but
I'll Google it.
and we're going to go there and check it out, and maybe try to see if we can like have tea or something there in the restaurant. Because it's going to be set in a hotel in upstate New York in
Mhm.
1899, and I'm super excited about it. So this trip will be really fun for me. Also, just to do that research on the side.
That is really exciting. Also, I did look it up. It is the Palmer House. You were
Yes.
completely correct. So
Okay.
good
Good.
job. Good job.
Are you like a superstitious or ghost person at all? Because that's what it just made me think of. I'm like staying in that old of a hotel.
Yeah, so I am a little bit. We went to a recreation of a seance last Halloween, which was really
Oh
fun. It was
wow.
at like a museum type situation. So it was,
Hmm.
they were explaining how the fake mediums tricked people into thinking that they were really contacting spirits. But that is
Oh
actually
wow.
a subplot of my new book is that whole spiritualism movement, which
Mhm.
started
Mm.
in upstate New York
Huh.
and spread out from there in the US. And so that's also going to be part of it as well. Yeah. As like a subplot.
Oh.
So I'm also excited
Mm.
to learn more about that. And it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
you can reach out to a lot of historical societies and things like that in different areas. And you can just explain like, hey, I'm a writer and I'm writing a book about this thing or this topic. What can you tell me or you have any resources? And they'll like share, everything
Mhm.
because they want to like preserve that history and everything. So it's usually really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I haven't obviously like researched stuff, but like I've gone to places that have historical stuff. And if you even show like an ounce of interest,
Yeah.
you learn so much. Like, there's a place, near where I grew up, it's called Zor, it's in Ohio, it's a little village they used to do, like I don't it was like a little commune, essentially, and, like, they would show us, like, how everyone got this much soap per week, and this was their allotment, like, that kinda thing, like, it was
Wow.
truly, like, everything was divided out, and, like, everybody had this much work and whatever,
Yeah.
and we got to, like, practice making butter, and, like, there was, like you could decorate things on tin, and it was so fun. I went every year for, like, the longest
Yeah, me
time, and
too.
I got to learn so many things, and I made friends with, like, all of the Amish people around the area. Okay, let's be honest, it's, like, the middle of nowhere, Ohio, it's
I
all
know.
Amish
You've
people.
just got that personality that none of
Yeah.
this really shocks me at this point.
Well, why would it?
I don't know. I just feel like there's certain people that would just I wouldn't believe them if they said these things.
Well, if you meet an Amish person, do not take their picture.
Well,
People
did
do that.
you?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no. People do
People
that.
do.
People
They
do
treat
that
them
whenever they
like
go to
that's
they
crazy.
treat them like Disney characters. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
so
especially whenever, like, you
strange.
go to a place that's, like, part touristy and it's, like, run by the Amish people or,
No,
like, near it, they'll, like, come up in their buggies and people will try and take pictures
I
of them.
haven't.
And, like, it's a whole thing of,
It's
like,
crazy.
there's certain Amish sects that, like, if they have their picture taken, they feel like you're taking a part of their soul.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah, so,
Um,
like yeah, my dad had to throw away an entire camera whenever he first moved to this area of Ohio or that area of Ohio. He had like and this was, like, whenever it was, like, a film camera, not, like, a digital, he couldn't delete it.
Mhm.
Entire camera, bye-bye.
that's really crazy.
Yeah.
But I would never just unprovoked take a photos
Oh, yeah, well, okay, that's good
someone.
of you. That's nice. A lot of people do that.
I know.
I
It's
don't like
weird.
to do that.
That's
God.
that's a weird thing to do, but you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it has. You're right. People do like to do that.
Yeah, I know.
Especially like, sorry, it just reminded me of this. It took me back. There was just a time when I
That's
was
a wrap.
really presenting, and it was like this was obviously like a queer person as well. I think, but they like I don't know. They were just like a little off. But anyway, he like came up to me and like put his phone in my face and was like, "Wow," and I was like, okay. I just wanted to get my snow cone, but
Oh.
work.
Yeah, that's
But then
uncomfortable.
like anyway, yeah,
Yeah, no.
no,
No.
won't be me doing that.
Oh my God.
Mini tangent.
Anyway, mini
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
tangent,
anyway,
but real.
yeah, no, we love to travel. We love to get outside and we love to go like to estate sales and look at
Oh,
Mm,
mess with all the old stuff and
I
hang
need
out with the
to.
dogs, that kind of thing.
yeah. How do you find the estate sales that you wanna go to? Because I always find them after they've done.
Well, my partner turned me on to this. There is a website called estatesales.net. I've been giving them free advertising.
Of course.
Estatesales.net. and you can put in your, area, and it'll tell you all the ones that are coming up like over the next week. And like it has
Wow.
the times and everything. You should get there if you need to get there early. Because some of them you can just go in, and some of them you have to get a number, and you can only go in when they call your
Mhm.
number. So
That's
There's so many.
yeah.
No, I believe it.
Oh, that one has an American flag in it. That's probably racist.
I can't stand you.
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
There's
It does
so
jump scare me.
many. Coins and currency. Oh, this one has a really pretty armoire.
It's
Okay, I'll
really
send that to
easy to get
everyone.
addicted to that website.
Yeah,
No, I believe it.
I'm addicted already.
It's
It's
like
fine.
those free, like the freebie app. You don't have the freebie app, do you?
I don't. I have the free Booksy app.
No, it's like a free app. It like so it links to like Facebook Marketplace and I think some other marketplaces too, and it just shows you stuff that's free in the area, and it'll notify you immediately when it's
Hmm.
free.
I don't have that, and I think that's good.
It's probably good.
Yeah.
You probably don't.
Yeah, same. We don't think we can fit anything else. We really can't fit anything else in our house. We just like to go look at stuff.
That's real. Yeah.
Same, honestly.
Do you find like estate sales and stuff? Does that kind of inspire you for your writing sometimes as well?
Yeah, it does actually. Especially if the house is really unique or old or something like that. Then I
Mhm.
definitely want to
Yeah.
like I'm there. I'm looking more at like the crown molding than I am at the actual stuff that's for sale. Just because, yeah.
Oh.
Actually, the first one, it was really crazy. The first one we ever went to, we just decided to go at the spur of the moment, and it was like towards the end, and it was this huge old like 100-year-old house. And we get there, and it's this like retired lesbian couple who are downsizing, and they
wow.
were telling us about the history of the house and how the house like had an underground queer zine in the basement in like the 80s, and they had
Crazy.
like I can't remember if she said that they also helped like go volunteer to care for patients with AIDS, or if they actually like had them stay in the house. I can't remember that part. I remember the part about the zine being in the basement, and that
That's
was
so
just
cool.
wild. That was the first one we went to
Mhm.
together. I was like, "Are they all like this?" And she was like, "No, they're really not."
She's like, no, you got it special the first time.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
yeah, exactly. I was like, "Yeah, you couldn't have planned that any better." And we wanted to
That is
talk
really
to them
cool,
more, but we
though.
also didn't want to like freak them out or make them like think we were too
Oh.
interested in talking to them, like just because
Mm.
they were trying to sell their stuff and get their house stuff taken care of. But we were like, "Be our friends."
Right. Honestly, I've started doing that though. Like, I'm like, hey, I really like talking to you. Are we friends now? Okay, let's be friends.
And
Yeah.
yeah, most people, I feel like,
We need community.
yeah,
They're
more
like,
people
oh
are
my
like,
God, I'm
okay,
desperate
yes.
for it too. Let's be friends.
They're
Yeah.
not, but
Oh, so that was great.
that kind of makes sense. Like, though, that I don't know, just like the way it's interesting to like think about the way that I guess an author brain works. And like,
Mhm.
I don't know, just
Mhm.
like all the little details that I imagine like seeing little details in things is almost like easier for you,
Yeah.
I would say. But also it's just being able to like take little details and then also build a big picture. I don't know. Writing overwhelms me sometimes. So I just admire people that
But
can
your
do it.
writing is
Yeah.
good.
Thank you. But I think it's just more abstract. Like, I think being like,
It's a lot of poetry.
yeah, that's why it's like formed like beginning, middle, end story. Like, I did used to
Mhm.
write a lot when I was younger.
Yeah. No, I'm always writing little things down or things I see, or my phone is full of notes, and I have to go through it every once in a while and clear them out. Okay, I'm going to
Mhm.
keep this. Okay, I don't even know what that means, or something like that, or voice notes. Oh my gosh. I get like really good
Mhm.
ideas when I'm driving. Of course, I can't write things down because that's dangerous,
I
but I
hate
have all
that.
these voice notes on my phone, like, look this up, or, oh, what if we do this instead? Then I have to go back and decipher what I was talking about. I have one,
Yep.
but I'm just recently, I had one where we were on a trail out in the woods, and I suddenly had an idea, and I was like, I'm going to talk into my phone for a minute. It's just me talking on my phone.
Yeah.
And you can hear us tromping through the woods in the background. And I'm just like, it's okay. This is fine. I don't have a problem or anything.
Or like the times when you wake up at like 3 a.m. for no reason and you're like half
Mhm.
asleep and you're like, this is the best idea. But you're also like, I also still need to sleep. And so you write down something completely abstract and you wake up
Yeah.
and you're like, what the
Mhm.
fuck was I on last night?
Yeah. Done that. Also gotten really great ideas in the shower. And then, although apparently now they make those writing pads and you can keep in the shower that even if they get wet, it like
Interesting.
doesn't
Ooh.
erase, which I might
Oh.
need one, but I have absolutely like run through the house in a towel to go write something down, and then ran and got finished like washing my hair.
You need to get those like crayons like they give to the kids that you can like write on the wall of the bathtub. You just need to get
Okay.
those. And then
Yeah.
it's just soap. So afterwards you can just wash the side of your tub and you're fine.
That's great too.
They're at the dollar store.
Yeah.
That's great.
I love that though.
Yeah. I do one thing, and this kind of ties back to the save the cat thing. One thing I do like about that is like if I do have all these little ideas and I'm trying to think, can these little ideas make a story, like a real story, or
Mm,
are they just little tidbits that I might be able to use later? I try to put
Hmm.
them through the save the cat format. And if I can't get all the way
mm,
through it, then I'm like, okay, this might not be a story. This might just be
Right.
an
mhm,
idea for a character or something later. So that's another way that that's helped me a lot personally, with parsing
That
out
is
ideas.
nice. Yeah, because you don't want to like use all of your energy trying to make something into a story that's not going to make sense or
Yeah.
isn't the flow that you want anyway. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that really interests me a lot. I'm gonna have to even look into it just
I
because,
screenshotted it so we wouldn't forget.
yeah, just like for creative process in general, I feel like I'm sure there's things that I could pull from it. Because
Oh
that was
yeah.
always a big thing for me too. Sorry, that was always a big thing for me too. Like when I did used to write when I was younger, was because like I don't know, I always hated an outline, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like I could never ever find an outline that worked for me.
Hmm.
And they're always like, no, you have to do the outline first. And I'm like, okay, well, a story is not happening then. Like, no, I don't care if it's fiction, if it's nonfiction, like writing is not happening. I'm going to tell you because I'm going to overthink this forever. But
Yeah.
a lot has changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's helpful because like this idea for this book I'm working on now, I actually had it in like 2023, but I'm not allowed to
Oh,
work on more than one thing at a time, um, or it won't get done. So
Fair.
I just like got my story points down. I was like, okay, this is a
mm,
story. Now you get put aside while I finish, the books for this thing, and then I can
mm,
move on to that.
That's awesome though. I'm excited to read it in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's got a lot of different things I have to figure out with the story historical context and like working in the fantasy elements. But I can say, because I already shared this recently, but I can say like it's historical fantasy. It's basically about this demon who's been cursed to run a hotel in upstate New York, and he hires this woman to be his new night clerk, and it turns out she is also under a curse, and she can see how much luck people have. And then there's this it's a little bit of an homage to Labyrinth with David Bowie.
mm,
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. So that kind of like vibe and basically David Bowie's face is this demon. Like I can't like picture him any
I
other way.
love it. I bet he would love that too. If he was alive and he read this, he'd be like, yeah, I'm
Think
for
so.
it.
But yeah, it's coming
That's really
together
cool.
now. Yeah, I'm excited.
That is really cool because whenever you first mentioned like old hotels in Chicago, is it Chicago or New York that there's like that one like hotel is like the murder hotel? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. You're talking about the one I think it's in Chicago, the one that was built for the World's Fair.
I don't know if it was for the World's Fair. The guy like built it, but he had like multiple different people working on it, so nobody had the full blueprints except for him, and it had like
Yeah.
hidden rooms so he could literally just like kill
Yeah, I
people.
think he built it. I don't know if he built it for the World's Fair, but I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of the people
Yeah.
who died were there because they were there for the World's Fair. So I think it had to be
oh,
Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know
yeah. I thought it
exactly.
was Chicago, but I was like, it was one of the two.
I know his name. What is it?
Yeah.
H.
You know
Holmes.
what? I'll look it up.
It's
Oh, yeah. Hey, there you go.
yeah,
mm,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. He was a very fascinating story.
yeah, I think is that the one that they technically based that American Horror Story
And
season off of?
kind
Oh,
of.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
gee,
'Twas good. An interesting story.
that part.
But yeah, so whenever I heard you saying that, so now that you're doing like demon and stuff like that, I'm like, okay,
yeah,
okay, I like it. I love this.
yeah.
That's really cool. I'm excited to read all your books though. This
Thank
also
you.
just reminded me that I have to get the next two. Because the reason I read your first book was because Ellen got it at Eli's
Yes, at
book
the
thing.
Book Kind Arcana. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so Ellen bought it and I borrowed it from her. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just like be able to read the second one and third one from like the library or something and not thinking. I don't know. My brain was just like, yeah, that'll be so easy. And then I was like, oh, well, it's okay. I'll just get it on her website. And then I just keep forgetting.
yeah. Well, you
So,
can have the library order them. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not like so there's I know we're running out of time, but there's a difference between being indie published exclusively like on Amazon and being wide
Mhm,
published. So if you're exclusively on Amazon, then your books can only be listed there, like your ebooks and everything. But if you're
mm,
wide published, it's through a different company. And so any bookstore, any library can order my books just like they could with a traditionally published book. There's just not a pre-printed run of copies. They just get printed on
mm,
demand.
okay.
So
Good to know.
yeah.
And
I will be begging our library.
although the Durham Public Library does have the ebooks, they just don't have
Okay.
paperbacks. And I'm going to be next weekend. I'm going to be at RetCon, which is in Durham, not far from the airport.
Okay.
It's a local sci-fi fantasy convention for the
Okay.
weekend. It's my first time being a guest author at a whole convention. So that's exciting, like panels and things like that. I'm on a panel
Yeah.
talking about queer writers and queer characters and stuff. So that's going to be fun.
That is really cool. I'm glad. I'm happy for you. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to speak on?
Not that I can really think of off the top of my head.
Did you want to plug your website or any
Oh,
socials
yeah.
just for our audience?
Yeah, sure. So my website is chcarterwrites.com. And on all my socials, Instagram, BlueSky, and it's just at chcarterwrites.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
well,
Thank you.
thank
Yeah,
you so much
thank you so much
again.
for
This has
having
been
me. I really
amazing.
appreciate it.
Well,
Of
thank you for sharing your
course.
story.
Yeah,
All right. Well, have a good weekend.
you
Yes.
too. Thank
Have
you
a good
so
day.
much. Gonna be getting ready for this thing.
Have fun.
Thank you. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Queer Vision Pod. I am your co-host, and this is...
Hi, I'm Becca.
We're the Queer Vision Pod in Carolina. Today we sat down with C.H. Carter, an author in the local Triangle area of North Carolina, an indie published author. We got to talk about their creative process, about their life, about the things that inspire them. Honestly, it was really intriguing just to see the way their brain works. I love creative people and I love art and I love seeing different creative forms and how that works for people.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for being here.
And you know what you can do? You can go and you can support her by going to chcarterwrites.com, or her socials, which I forget, but they're on Instagram and BlueSky.
And in the show notes.
That in the show notes. See? And then you can support us by going to queerolina.org. That's queerolina.org. You can see everything we have going on, which includes our magazine and all of our events. So,
And those will also be listed in the show notes. When it happens next Tuesday at 3 p.m. I'm quoting...
does Walmart have gas?
Yes, I'm quoting a really redneck mechanic that I once met in my hometown. So who knows how true this is, but I take it as the truth, right? Okay, so it's one of those things in my life that will stay with me forever. And it's because I had a car once. Anyway, I had a car once and there was white smoke coming out of it. And you know what happened? What happened was that I had used Walmart gas. And you want to know why you shouldn't use Walmart or Murphy gas? Murphy USA, Sam's Club? Because they put trash. It's not properly filtered. That's why it's so cheap.
I haven't had any issue. I use the Murphy gas next to Lowe's all the time.
Well, when your car explodes next week, we'll know why.
And now Chloe's gonna go get coffee. And I'm gonna take a nap. Okay, love you, bye.
Bye.